Okay, so I'm going to do a review of my 2010 Honda Civic EXL 4-door. It's a 1.8 liter, I think it's 140 horsepower, that's what it's rated for. We've had it since 2011, so it was 1 year old when we bought it. We bought it with 17,000 clicks, 17,000 miles, or kilometers, sorry. And now it's got about 130,000 kilometers. So I'll just talk about how it went, how it's been driving, and all the things wrong and all the things right. So first off, you don't see any rust on there, so that's good. Since it's 2018, about to be through 2019, it's an 8-year-old car here. So as an 8-year-old car, it's doing pretty decently. So let's see here, see the way it looks. Okay, there was a recall on this car on the metal right here. There was a little bit of rust, so I took it back to the dealership. I think that was on year 2 that we owned it, and they fixed it all up. Okay, well, let's talk about, it's got electronic rust inhibitor. I think it has the rust, had the rust coating on the top and underneath. The lady who bought it got all the bells and whistles. We bought it used. I think we bought it for 20 grand. I think that book price was probably around 26,000 new. So we saved a little bit of money. Okay, so the first thing, we're in Canada, and Canadians, we're in one of the coldest cities in all of Canada. So it's had to deal with like 7 really harsh winters. And we put a lot of sand and a lot of salt on our roads in winter. So considering that, I have to say that it's held up really well considering rust. No rust, nothing yet. The closest thing to rust I think we had was, I don't know if it's this side or the other side, but this little groove, it catches gravel and rocks as they get shot out sometimes on the highway. And yeah, it's right here. There was like I guess the gravel went over here, hit that, and then rust started kind of going. I sanded it and cleaned it up, and the rust came back. So I had to like go deeper and put rust inhibitor in there, and then it helped. What else? Okay, the only real mechanical problems other than regular maintenance has been one bad bearing. There was a bad bearing in this wheel, the rear driver's side wheel, and that happened at about 50,000 kilometers. It sounded like a helicopter was driving or something, like and super annoying, and I was so scared of how much it would cost. It was only about $300 to do it with mechanics, with the mechanic fees and everything, so it wasn't so bad. Okay, so let's see how many miles this thing has. Okay, first off, this is all leather. Power, everything, leather. It doesn't have navigation, and it doesn't have a 6-stick changer, and it's not an SI. So listen. So it starts super easy. See, it's got 137,000, so almost 140,000 kilometers. So I don't know, what is that at, like 100,000 miles. This thing is still perfect. No issues with the radio. I've had to do the brakes. I had to do the front brakes once and the back brakes once. I'm just finishing off the stock summer tires. The winter tires are there, and it's fine. There's no issues with quality except for this thing. This leather, it started separating here. So that's obviously some sort of factory defect, a poor stitching job or something. Something I could probably go get fixed, but it's no big deal for now. My wife uses this as a daily driver. She puts on like 150 kilometers a day. Sometimes it shifts. Let's see how she runs, okay? It gets about 36 miles to the gallon. So let's go. It does about 36 miles to the gallon. And but it's got decent acceleration. It's a 1.8 liter. Sometimes when the temperature changes, the heat shield on the exhaust does vibrate a lot, so it's kind of annoying. And it does have a lot of internal noise. There's not a lot of sound deadening in this era of Civic, but seriously, like, it's been a zero issue car. It just starts and goes no matter what. I've had to change the battery, The battery got pretty weak after about 7 years of use. 7 to 8 years of use. So that's not bad for a battery. Usually they only have a 4-year life. So 36 miles to the gallon, and only the back bearing had to get done. No other issues, no other problems. It still runs like it's new. Like, me and my wife always talk about how when we drive it, we still love this car. We love it, and it still feels like a new car. It feels slightly different than when we bought it new, or slightly used. Like, it has that feeling of a new car, tight, strong, stable, and that's why we're so impressed. And I don't think we're ever going to go away from Honda because of this car. This car we're so in love with it. What else issues have we had? Let's see. Another issue is okay, obviously right here, when you get out, you always scrub this part with your pants, and then like see the salt and sand goes here and it starts to rust. But it's a quick fix, just like a little sand and a little bit of rust paint, and we're good to go. The one other problem is that the bumper is very low, so like it's not a very high car, and in winter we get like a lot of snow, so you'll do a lot of scraping, so that's a problem. I wish it was slightly taller. Right here, because of snow banks, like we had a very, very snowy winter a couple years back, and our neighbors weren't cleaning out the back lane. So we hit like lots of snow, and then we ended up tearing there's some plastic rivets here. So the bumpers aren't very like it's a strong bumper, but that area seems to easily tear away from the metal. If you have any kind of impact over here and there's bending, like this one, I tapped it against the garage door, pushed it in, and then because of that pressure, the rivet snapped. Like the plastic O-ring that holds the bolt snapped, and then this thing came out. So what I did is I just took some really, really industrial tape, put it in the crack, and just pushed it in, and it's kept it there. And she's on the highway every day, so it's done the job. So if they would have made that a little bit stronger, that would have been better. If they made it slightly taller for Canadian winters, that'd be better. And what else? Yeah, like the bumper, I've had to like spray paint it and stuff like that because of the hardcore snowbanks that we've had. But other than that, this car has been maintenance, like very basic maintenance. I changed the spark plugs, I changed the oil, changed the air filter, and this thing runs and runs and runs, and it never gives me any problems. And we love it. So you can't go wrong with a Honda Civic, especially for Canadian winters. Another thing too is this is starting to wear, like the plastic is starting to discolor, but it's not that big a deal. I got a new kit from Meguiar's. I'm gonna clean it up and it's gonna be fine. All I do to keep the car shiny is I give clay bar once in a while, and then I'll give it like Meguiar's wax. Meguiar's a paste wax, and this thing just shines like it's new. I still love the way this car looks. I still love the way it drives. You can't go wrong with a Honda Civic. Peace.